I got you into a Remington party. What's my thanks? It's on the hallway carpet. I got paid in puke. Lick it up, baby. I got paid in puke.
Welcome to Paid in Puke, a podcast where three women with names discuss movies that are about something other than a man. Paid in Puke is hosted by Amy Green, Christina Barr, and Jessica Baxter. It's also a spoiler-filled free-for-all. You've been warned. Today we're talking about the 1996 movie Set It Off, directed by F. Gary Gray, and written by Kate Lanier and Takashi Buford, starring Jada Pinkett, Queen Latifah, Vivica A. Fox, and Kimberly Elise.
Before they started laying people off, they was paying folks $15 an hour at that place.
That's good money.
$15 an hour, I'll be old. What I gotta do, sir?
I wish we could just get out of here.
Hey, Darnell, I didn't know you had an account here.
We're gonna have to let you go. The fact that you knew the perpetrator doesn't sit well with us.
Do you know Lorenz and them got away with 20 grand? That's what we need to do. Rob a bank.
That's stupid. Ain't nobody over here gonna be robbing no bank.
We gonna end up dead anyways. Maybe that's the way to go. Firing off a nod.
You're just taking away from the system that's doing us all anyway. Well, what if something goes wrong? What if somebody gets hurt? Let's do it.
All right, check it out. Y'all can roll with that right there.
Well, we ain't robbing stagecoaches. I need something I can set it off with.
They seem to know the inner workings of each bank. Their MO is in and out.
Please do not be misled by the fact that these four bandits are female.
$12,000 in 90 seconds. We said once to get us enough change to get us up out of here.
You ain't getting far on $3 grand.
Don't make me get ugly up in here, ladies and gentlemen.
All these women run together. Getting in way over their heads, aren't they?
Stoney! No more killing!
It's armed robbery and it's murder. Is it ours? Yes.
At the time, it was a critical and box office success, which grossed $41 million against a $9 million budget.
Oh, solid.
Which is pretty good. And surprisingly, I can't believe that I hadn't heard about this movie until very recently. I just read about it as a very underrated movie.
I thought you had seen it, like, at the time, or...
No,
I did not. Oh.
I just read about it, and I said, that sounds like something that's perfect to watch for the podcast. On account of the four female leads and people of color everywhere in this movie. There's nothing weird and saccharine about it, and there's nothing like...
Definitely not saccharine.
Yeah. So I guess that's the kind of movie about race that you need to get Oscar attention. It's got to have some sort of like white influence on the script that makes it palatable for white people.
Right. No, some white savior. I think, usually.
Yeah. Instead of this like very realistic, very gritty, incredibly moving movie. Oh my God, it was. I'm still a little stuffy. We just watched it, and it was very intense, very devastating. I'm blown away by that movie.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, this blew me away too, and I was most blown away by Queen Latifah, who is so good. I mean, I don't know that I've seen her really in anything besides Chicago, which of course she was great in. She was so natural.
I knew her as a comedic actress. Mm-hmm. She's in Beauty Shop and Girls Trip, and I mean, lots of comedies, and I know she's funny, and she's funny in this. Like, her character is funny, which I like. Where the jokes, when in a drama, when the jokes come from the characters themselves telling jokes in situations. I always like that as a way to put some levity into a movie that's so heavy.
Right. Yeah, you could see why they were friends. Like, they had a good time hanging out with each other, that they did just kind of bounce off each other pretty well.
done told you I'm strictly dickly.
See, I'm gonna tell Ursula.
You won't tell nobody. She got stoned. Look at her, look at her. Chronic always get ass all quiet. Look at her sitting over there. Hey, you fucked up, ain't you, girl?
They're joking around a lot, and it's legit funny. Best friends razzing each other. And Jada Pinkett starts laughing because she says,
You know, every time we get high, you start looking like Sugar Bear.
For real. Y'all crazy.
You do kind of look like Sugar Bear.
Fuck all y'all.
I remember Sugar Bear, but I Googled it just to be sure my reference was correct. It's the mascot for Super Golden Crisp cereal.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if they make that cereal anymore or not, but that bear has these really arrogant eyebrows. It's really cute, but he's really smug about his cereal, so I thought that was really funny. When I looked that up, I was like, that is a really hilarious burn on your friend.
That is funny.
This is something that I feel like they should give awards for, or we've also talked about doing it as a dodeca competition, but it might be alienating for some. My husband has a party every year where for his birthday where we have 12 events of varying levels of ridiculousness and drinking prowess, but one of the events is always a performance challenge. So we've done spit takes and we've done accents and all sorts of things like that, but we always joked about doing acting where it's like post-toke acting.
Oh, okay.
So I love the scene where they're all on the roof and they're smoking the blunt, and and Queen Latifah compliments her own rolling. I love people who are arrogant about their rolled joints. She's like, I rolled a good one.
Yeah, I wrote this one good. Blood talking to me.
While she's holding the smoke gun. That's a delivery style that can be very comedic, and I really appreciate it when actors do it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's really great.
That would be pretty fun to watch as an event.
It'd be fun. And you wouldn't have to I don't think you'd have to actually smoke anything. You just have to hold your breath and then try to talk while you're holding your breath and make it look funny. Yeah, they were able to have a good time, which was crucial to survival because their lives were not great. Yeah. They had so much financial trouble. They were just constantly being oppressed from pretty much everybody. Not just the man, but like family and other people in their neighborhood were just throwing them shit.
Right.
Just constantly. And all they were trying to do was just live.
Right. And it's again like Hustlers, where it's like, just work hard and try and get by, showing how the system is stacked against you, and playing by the rules is not going to get you anywhere. And I'm trying to think if there's any bank robber movies where they all get away with it,
I know.
I mean, it did early on when they first talk about robbing banks, and she says, you want to do a suicidal mission like that? And you think, okay, is this foreshadowing? And yes, it is. If there's like a bank heist movie where everyone gets away and doesn't get killed.
I can't think of one off the top of my head. Okay. Yeah, that
I don't remember what happened.
Italian Job, sort of.
I looked Gary Gray up, and he actually directed Italian Job. And,
oh, really?
He directed MIB International, and then like back in the 90s, he did a bunch of like music video directing, like for TLC. Like he did Waterfalls and
that's a great video.
That was a great video, and like some videos for Ice Cube and Cypress Hill. So like he definitely has like a music directing background, and Dr. Dre is a character in this movie.
He's the arms dealer.
Yeah.
There was that love scene between Jada Pinkett and Blair Underwood was very music video.
Yeah, it was totally like a montage.
So visual. The way it was, the cut to the music itself and all the candles. So you saw his music video directing skills play in that scene. I like the way he set up a lot of shots. There were some interesting shots that really took note of. Like, I loved that first car that Queen Latifah jacks. They have a shot of her in the side view mirror while she's with the sunglasses on and the cigarette hanging out of her mouth, throwing the CDs out, which kind of becomes her trademark, which also ends up getting them busted.
Yeah, you figured that was going to come into play. Showing that.
Yes, with fingerprints on CDs. Like, that, what a better thing to lift a fingerprint from than a CD. And she had priors. There was a lot of good foreshadowing, though. Things that you could tell it was foreshadowing, but it didn't seem like it was just stuck there for narrative purposes. It really felt like a natural use of foreshadowing. Because it was also, it fell into her character. She's trying to inject fun into everything. She's always injecting fun into their terrible drudgery at work every day.
Look at this motherfucker. Bet you ain't never held a broom in his life. And she ain't did no dishes or washed no clothes. This is an ugly-ass baby. White people be having some old waterhead, crying-ass ugly baby.
Yeah. She's the only one who can clap back at their boss. He's always giving them hell.
You didn't empty the cans in 104. I'm docking your pay.
Come on now, that ain't right.
Well, who you supposed to be? Goddamn mighty morphin' fucking Power Ranger? What you gonna do? I'm docking her pay.
You one cold-hearted motherfucker, Luther.
Get back to work.
Just because she's so funny, I think that's how she gets away with it.
Yeah.
So that was very much in her character. And she's like, well, I want to find the perfect music to steal this car to. So I'm not really thinking about what the consequences of this are going to be.
Yeah, another good shot for me was when a couple times they had the shot from above of the spiral staircase where they were working. That was, that was a really pretty shot. And then also how it's so opulent, and then the three of them, or the four of them eventually, are just cleaning it in their work jumpsuits. That was a good shot to me.
Yeah, and you never see the people whose homes they're cleaning other than the photographs. I really like that. Right. I cleaned houses for a while as a job, and I did like to make up little narratives about everybody from their pictures and their knickknacks and all that stuff, because obviously everybody whose house I was cleaning was in a better financial situation than I was. I think that's generally how it works.
You would think.
And it's just fun to make up stories about them. I never stole any prescription medication, but I always looked at what everyone had, and then if I didn't know what it was, I'd write down what the drug was and look it up later. Because I just wanted to know, like, what are you taking?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I just have some Oxy in my medicine cabinet that I never took when they gave it to me after surgery, and I didn't have any pain, I didn't need it, but I'm like, I just still have a bottle of Oxy sitting around. I'd probably get rid of that.
Yeah.
Or it might give people the wrong idea if they're concocting stories from my medicine chest.
Yes. Just from the opening, it was so gripping.
Mm-hmm.
That bank robbing scene at the very beginning where Frankie is Vivica A. Fox's character's name. And it sets her up as a person who's just been trying to work with the system and play by the rules. And she's working at this bank, and then she knows the guy who comes in to rob them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just later she's talking to the cop and she says, what would you do if there was a gun in your face? But it's more than that, because it's a gun in her face being pointed at by a guy who she's known probably, since they were kids, in all likelihood. So she's trying to kind of talk him out of it, but she's also terrified, understandably, and she doesn't want to get in trouble. You can see why she would freeze. It's very easy to see why she would just have no idea how to handle that situation and try to work it out. And she gets fired because of that.
I feel like she gets fired pretty much just for knowing the person who robbed the bank.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting, because in the end, I don't know if they even knew Blair Underwood knew Stoney, but he definitely did not get fired. The bank he works at is also robbed. I assume that was intentional in some way to show, she lost her job for knowing the person who robbed the bank, and he does not lose his job even though he knew one of the girls who robbed the bank.
Because he's a different class.
Right,
and a man.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
It's amazing.
Right. He went to Harvard, too.
Yes. Well, she mentions twice, or she says he went to Harvard, and he's like, yes, guilty, basically, and then he says it one more time.
Right.
I love that right after that he's like, yeah, just so we're clear, I did go to Harvard.
I wasn't just kidding when you said that. So.
That was a nice dichotomy, even though his character was so annoying.
Right. He grew on me a little bit. He seemed to genuinely be enjoying. He was such a... Well, I mean, he's so terrible. they meet opposite of cute, I guess, because she basically just walks into the bank he works in and he's immediately hitting on her so hard. Yeah, it's not even just like flirtatious. It's like just a fine woman like you.
Yeah, he takes it right up to 11.
Yeah,
like their first couple interactions, everything about her is how fine she is. Like, you can't be doing this or that because you're such a fine woman.
How are you so hard when you're so beautiful?
Yeah, in the restaurant where he said that, it was just like,
yeah, it's so gross. And I also like that she doesn't seem like she's really falling for it either. She's just kind of like, I guess he's pretty cute. So.
Yeah. Yeah, he's attractive and he's making dinner for her.
And he can't talk all the time.
Right. But that first scene when they meet, like, it's pretty gross even with him, and then like imagine that with an unattractive man who like is like the manager of the bank or something, and she's just pretending to be interested to open an account, and it's like immediately like I don't usually deal with customers, but I had to because you're so fine.
Right.
Dude. And then I would be your personal banker. Imagine if she was just a customer.
Right. I mean,
she would leave that bank and never come back. She'd be like, I can't come back into the bank. How's your ATM? Because I can never set foot inside this bank again.
Right. I know. This is in 1996. I think you still had to go into the bank sometimes. Now you don't really need.
You couldn't deposit a check without.
Yeah.
Like I remember when they got ATM check depositing, and that was such an amazing thing.
Right. It felt so risky though, you know.
It did. So I just put my check into this machine, and then it's gonna magically appear in my account. That seems not likely.
I know. Like I want some proof. I mean, they still give you a receipt, I guess, but I still felt like I want someone physically to say yes. You deposited that check.
Yeah, even if it's just a robot. It feels safer to me depositing a check on my phone, taking a photograph of it on my phone and sending it off to the internet.
Yeah. Although I still hold on to the check until I see it in my account.
Yeah, I do that too.
I do that too.
I don't even write void on it or anything. So usually it's like as soon as you...
Just in case. I feel like such an old lady doing that.
I know.
Yeah, I definitely, when we were watching the movie, I definitely thought like, oh God, thank God I don't go to the bank anymore, or we don't have to go to the bank anymore.
Right.
I got so mad when the bank people told Frankie to calm down in that scene.
I nearly got blown away in your giant ass fucking bank, and you gotta fire me? You couldn't even wait.
Of all the, if you ever feel like you need to tell a woman to calm down, just don't. Don't say those words. If there was an inappropriate time, it's right after she had a woman with her head blown off right in front of her face, where her blood splattered onto her face.
Yeah. If you have someone else's blood spattered on you, you don't have to calm down.
And her job is in question because of this traumatic shit that happened minutes before this conversation. My heart just began racing in anger when that fucking old white dude said calm down to her. I'm glad she gets up in his face and fucking yells at him.
Right.
I hate when in movies when people get fired unjustly and then they're like, okay, and they walk out kind of dejected. Like, you're obviously not going to get a recommendation from this. You're like, just fucking let him have it because they deserve it, and you're going to regret it later if you don't tell them
nobody really sits back and takes it from anyone.
Yeah. Well, and he's like insinuating that she's like had something to do with the crime, basically. She said like, I am here all the time. I just counted $250,000 by hand for you yesterday. She's got blood splattered
Yeah.
all over her. And that guy was really shitty to her.
She makes the point, too, that they just gave her a raise and a promotion.
Right.
Which is, like, so obviously you know that I'm good at my job.
Yeah.
But now, because of this, you're suspicious, because I happen to know this guy.
Yeah.
Just think about it for 1 fucking second. Like, right. I know him because he's from a poor neighborhood that I am also from. Right. I wonder if bank robbing happens less now because of that, or...
I know, like, how much cash is there in a bank?
Yeah.
Or supposedly there's some, like, the procedure with a bank robbery is, like, you do not argue or fight at all. It's like, what, you know, someone just walks in, yes, you give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, even her hesitating in the beginning felt like, aren't they supposed to just hand it over?
But apparently they weren't. They were supposed to do a thing.
Look, sir, I am
Stop,
aware that
stop,
I'm
stop,
aware that I did.
now! What's the procedure? You're being robbed.
You pull the money clip from your right-hand drawer, and then you signal with the left hand.
You signal with the left. So you know the procedure.
Yes, like I said, the procedure has been told to me over 1 million times.
So why is it if that procedure's been told to you, why did you follow the procedure?
Because he had a gun.
Which is, it seems like a risky plan that they had, where they're supposed to signal to somebody. Like, it's so hard to signal to someone without a person who's staring right at you noticing.
Right.
Yeah.
And with a gun in your face. Yeah, I mean, I really liked that at the end when she brings that back to him. When he's standing in front of her, the confrontation.
And now you gotta save you.
Wait!
So, what's the procedure when you got a gun in your head, huh?
What's the fucking procedure when you got a gun at your head?
Like, how easy is it to decide what to do and know the right thing to do right now?
Right.
I was so glad that he had that moment because I really hated that character. John C. McGinley's character, the whole movie, I was just like, I hate this guy.
Right.
One of my favorite lines was when he comes up to her after her brother is shot. And,
excuse me.
This
like, we're going to do a full investigation. Like, great, thanks. You know, like, a bunch of cops just shot this guy.
All right, okay. Fuck your investigation! Fucking go to hell!
Let's
keep me posted.
investigate.
I'll hold my breath until I hear from you.
Yeah. Let me know what you come up with in this investigation where you just shot this guy for no reason.
At least he seemed to care a little bit.
And in the end, I feel like he just sort of feels like, all right,
It's like too little, too late.
like he sees Stoney on the bus getting away, and I feel like he's just sort of like, okay, fair.
He lets her go because
tit for
she's
tat,
lost
sort of
everybody, and,
right?
You know, like
right. Everyone else died. We killed her brother. All right, I'm just gonna act like I don't see that.
Which was, I mean,
right,
the right thing to do, obviously.
It's frustrating when nobody gets away with something in a movie. You know, I feel like I always not for the bad guys, but like when there's any heist, robbery, like you always want to see it. Like,
well, especially in this situation.
Yeah,
I mean, like a lot of these social justice heist movies, they show the reasons, you know, why they did it, and so you feel sorry for them, but you're still like, okay, they're doing illegal things. This, I feel like with this one more than any of the other ones, I thought like, yeah, they are fucking justified in doing this. Right. Like, they are owed something.
Yeah. I'm not rooting for the bank, I guess, in that way.
And I like that they made a point of saying, you know, that isn't actually, we're not stealing money from people. We're stealing from an institution. The people are going to get their money back. Like, the bank is on the hook for this. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, they all kind of seemed like, well, except for Queen Latifah, she was always like, let's rob a bank. But, like, the other three, they had their own circumstances where they were just sort of desperate. Like, there were no other options to get the money. Kimberly Elise, who has the baby, and, like, she couldn't get the babysitter to go to work at the cleaning place, and then, like, her baby, like, gets into cleaning supplies and has to go to the hospital, and then, like,
you just had to get his stomach pumped.
Like, he's gotta get, now she doesn't have her kid anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, that's just so fucking unfair.
That was absolutely the hardest storyline. The argument that she has with the social worker, she makes all the right points, and it's so frustrating that there's always an answer for everything. Like, people get poisoned, like white people's children get poisoned, but not on the job. Well, that's because they have childcare. I didn't have childcare. Well, you should have figured it, you know.
Right.
Like, what do you fucking do? If you don't go to work, you don't get paid, and you maybe even lose your job. Like, she really had no choice.
It's interesting to think, like, would you, you know, if one of my kids, something like that happened to one of my kids where they had to rush to the hospital because they accidentally swallowed some household poison, like, it wouldn't even occur to me that I would lose my kids over that, you know. Like, I would just assume that it would be, these things happen, and, you know, you can't watch your child every second, if this could happen in a moment, and I assume that part of that is because I'm a nice white lady, you know. Like,
I mean, I know that there's a lot of care taken when a child is injured. Like, when my daughter broke her arm at the school playground, we were there for 4 hours in the ER, and a number of people came through. We saw like 10 people. Oh, wow. And every person talked only to her about what happened. Mm-hmm. And I could tell that they were doing a procedure of, you know, making sure that she really did break her arm accidentally and not but through some abuse situation. As frustrating as that was, I could see why they did it, and I can only imagine that it would be so much more invasive and horrible. Like, they were being pretty subtle about it. I could just tell because of how long we were there. But if I wasn't a nice white lady, like you said, it probably would have been so much worse and so much more obvious what was happening, and who knows, you know, it's just...
Right. Not that the black ladies aren't nice, but I mean the perception.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
Right.
Exactly. The perception. That's the problem, is the perception, what people decide when you walk through the door. I knew that they were going to take the child away just because that's how it works. That's how the system works against marginalized people. Every scene with her and her son was just so heartbreaking. Right. When you knew it was the last time, she knew it was the last time she was going to see her son too. She could, you know, you could just...
Or also when Queen Latifah drives through the bank and knocks over that thing of stuffed animals and she grabs one for her kid. I know.
Kimberly Elise, like, she didn't participate in the first robbery.
Right. She was the most risk averse, but she was also the one who needed the money the most. Which, you know, what they should have done was what they did at first, which is, even though she didn't participate, just give her the money. But, you know, they were all caught up in it, and they were very bonded and very supportive, so I can see why they would have an all-for-one.
But also, like, she has the most to lose if they get caught. You know, it's like, if she gets caught robbing a bank, she's probably not getting her kid back, you know?
Yeah,
so
if she gets arrested for any reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, let alone murdering, and then she killed that guy, but it was in self-defense. But so do you think he took their money or not?
I think he did, yeah.
Which
Luther,
guy?
Their boss,
the boss at the
boss who unexpectedly quit.
Because he left
right.
his
I mean,
business.
their money was gone, and he quit and bought a bunch of stuff. He does seem like he doesn't know what they're talking about, kind of, but he probably had no idea it was theirs. You know, like, why would he
just found it?
Yeah, like, he finds like a ton of cash. Like, why would you think that it belonged to them?
But he seemed so confused the whole time they were talking to him that I was like, is he just a really good actor? Or, oh, what money are you talking about? Because I found $75,000
Right.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Well, why didn't he draw the conclusion that it was the same money? Obviously, they were missing a lot of money, and you found a lot of money.
Yeah.
In a place that you guys both frequent.
Right. I mean, you just wonder, like, did he not put it together, or is he putting it together in that moment, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because they probably also always feel like he owes them money. He told the one person that he would pay them under the table and then didn't. And, you know, is he at first just like, oh, you guys always asking me for money, you know? Or it's like... I don't know. I would be curious what was going through his head. I want some backstory. Luther, you know,
I was a little perplexed by that scene because I was trying to figure out if the story was implying that he didn't take the money. But yeah, I think you're right.
I think clearly he did because it was gone and he got a bunch of money. Yeah. So
and he seemed to like know Dr. Dre's character, because the girls came to him and he was like, oh, I saw Luther. I was a little confused, but it seemed like maybe would he have gotten wind from Dr. Dre? I just call him Dr. Dre. I forgot what his name was.
His name was Black Sam.
Well, yeah, like
Black Sam's Grand
Slam
Speakeasy.
Like if maybe like he tipped Luther off that the girls had
Yeah.
the bank. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Like, how did he find the money? Did he know where that came from? You know, I mean, it seemed pretty well hidden.
I know, it was really well hidden, because she had to crawl really far. Like, only Jada Pinkett could fit into this duct. And she had to crawl in really far to get it. But it was not there. Do you think that Lorenzo was setting up, or with Lorenz or Lorenzo? Lorenz.
Who's that?
The guy who was behind the original bank robbery at Frankie's Bank. And then he has the AP, the Acorn Projects, shaved into his head. That's what leads to Stoney's brother getting shot, is because he goes to that guy's house. And then that guy's like, you're going to get this shaved into your head. He kind of doesn't seem that into it, but then he just lets him do it because the guy's a little bit of a bully. And then before that, they were John C. McGinley's talking about how that's how they're going to identify the guy, was by having AP shaved into his head.
The brother?
The brother.
Oh, okay.
As he was walking out, the cops were right there.
Right.
So I just wondered, I felt like that meant that he was set up to
like,
take
did he know
fall.
that the cops had video of his...
Yeah, did he know that somehow that they caught wind that they were
identifying-
looking for him?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I was wondering.
I mean, they did say he's not even from, that it's for Acorn Project, and he wasn't even from there.
Yeah.
Oh, good catch.
But
It didn't occur to me, but that...
I was wondering that too, and then like I was wondering like why does he have the bottle of champagne? Did they sell it? Is that like just?
I think that they
he's
still
friends
all
with the
thought he
guy,
was
or,
going
like...
to UCLA.
It was to
something.
celebrate that he got into UCLA.
Oh, okay.
Even though he didn't.
I thought about that too, and then I was thinking like, well, they all got everybody at that apartment.
Everybody got killed,
yeah,
but I mean, I was
killed.
wondering if you thought maybe he'd get a little further away from the apartment before
Yeah,
they
maybe.
opened fire. Or maybe that he wouldn't go into the apartment if they thought they already had the guy. Maybe it's not important to the story either, but I was just wondering about that and why he was so adamant about this kid getting that shaved into his head when he didn't really want to.
Yeah,
and...
he was kind of pushy about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
They just shoot the guy so many times. It's like, what the...
Yeah, every time they decide they're going
like,
to open fire, the bullets fly.
Right, and then immediately John C. McGinley is on, I'm like, stay with me. We're called,
I
like,
know.
why?
I know, that's when I hated him so much.
I know. I was like, that doesn't really feel real to me that you guys shot him a bunch of times and then you're heartbroken that he didn't make it. Like,
what? That's your job to tell everybody not to just open fire like that before you get there. That's a cop thing that I don't understand, is why they say it's a liability for us to not shoot to kill when we shoot.
I know, that's
like,
a
really,
thing, that
like,
they are
why
supposed
do you
to
spend
shoot
so
to
much
kill.
time practicing at the gun range to shoot in specific parts of the body if you're supposed to shoot to kill when the time comes?
Right.
Like,
I mean, I
what's that
think that's
training
one of
for?
those things where there's like the official reason and then also the real reason, which is just like, I don't think cops care if they kill people. You know?
Yeah, because they can get away with it. And
Yeah,
it's not their problem, and they are racist. So
Right.
whether or not they know it.
Well, I mean, that's why the police force was invented, to protect white people from black people. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like, so shoot to kill because it's a liability.
Or something. I don't know.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of started laughing at all the times he had said, "God damn it."
He's having a rough day.
Oh, yeah, my day's really hard. I
rough
keep
time.
accidentally killing black people today. God damn it. God damn it.
I have a good lead on this girl, and the chief, you know, the cop doesn't want me to follow up on it. So I'll just go follow her.
I
on my
know.
own. I mean,
I was like, they're never going to redeem this guy for me.
right.
Yeah, that scene where...
And then they barely do, but just
Tiny,
the
yeah.
tiniest bit. Yeah. That's the kind of thing that would give, in a movie directed by a white person, would have gotten him an Oscar nomination probably,
Right.
at least. That's like the Sam Rockwell, like, the racist cop with the heart of gold.
Oh.
They love getting awards to those guys.
I know.
Was John C. McGinley in Point Break?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like he's like the exact
He's the one
same
who,
person.
He's the one who says, "We get a Blue Flame special here."
Oh.
Young, dumb, and full of cum.
Oh, right. Okay.
And then he says, like, what do we got, an asshole shortage? He's on screen for like 10 minutes. Everything he says is pretty funny. But he was a totally different kind of cop in this situation.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I just hated him in this movie. His character.
Yeah.
It was so tense, but also there was a lot of funny stuff, kind of more lighthearted scenes. Like, I really liked when they were all talking like it was The Godfather.
Yes!
There's been a rift in this family that is not good for business. See, we want to play it like it was. Back to work, see? If only Tashawn and Stoney will come rob the bank with us. We started as a gang of 4. We must always be 4. Now, Stoney from the Bronx, what is your opinion? Should we rob the bank?
Oh, I found a little bit of trivia about that.
The cotton in her mouth.
That scene was hilarious. And before I watched the movie, I read the trivia that half the $9 million budget, went to securing the Godfather music.
Wow.
Music rights are so expensive.
Yeah.
Like, if you write a song that people want to use in a movie, you can be rich just based on one song for the rest of your life. So I was like, wow, I wonder if it was worth it. And then it totally was.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, because they were hilarious.
Yeah.
So who did the best Brando?
Well, I thought TD's was the funniest.
Leo Menza. No more funny-looking underwear for your little girlfriend.
It was funny.
Yeah.
Her finger work was good.
But I liked that. What was Vivica Fox's character's name?
Frankie.
Frank. Oh,
Yeah.
I like that she had cotton in her mouth. Was
yeah,
funny.
that's commitment right there.
Yeah. But that was funny, and then all the scenes with Queen Latifah and her girlfriend were like how right after they robbed a bank the first time, everybody else is trying to like lay low and still go to work, and then Queen Latifah just like doesn't go to work and buys a bunch of lingerie for her girlfriend.
Yeah, she skips work and she's just getting high in a garage while her girlfriend dances around in lingerie.
Yeah,
like, that seems like a reasonable sick day to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's not being extravagant. Like, who's gonna know? I thought that was actually a pretty good. I know you like a getting rich montage.
I do.
We did not have one of those here because they were being smart.
Right. Yeah. That was the closest that it came, I think.
Yeah.
It rained with the
got to
bills through the...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she dropped all the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she got some new rims and hydraulics in her car, too. But, yeah, not much. They were very, very reasonable, very responsible. I really wish they could have gotten away with it because they would have made that money last.
Yeah. It would have made a big difference in their lives, for sure.
Yeah. I know it would... Probably would not have had the same impact if they'd all just been on the beach in Mexico in the end with the baby there, but it would have been... Part of me thinks that would have been really gratifying to see for once.
I know, I love when people get away with it in a movie.
Yeah.
So at least one person did, although she lost like everything, you know.
Yeah.
And that was so sad when they show the montage of her remembering her friends and her brother
really
at the party.
I think that they did not need the flashbacks in that scene. I think that she was carrying it with her expressions, laughing and sobbing.
Right, yeah.
Looking at the money. I feel like you would have known what she was thinking about in those moments. I kind of get a little upset in movies when they underestimate the ability of their actors to convey emotions without voiceover or flashbacks. Like, I think we'll get it.
Right, like, yeah, that's true. It's like she has mixed emotions here.
We were all here too. We watched it. We watched all that shit go down also. We know what she's probably thinking about. We're not going to think she's thinking about some movie she saw or something while she's looking at this pile of money.
That she's not just like stoked to have gotten away with all this money.
Yeah. She was really, really good too.
Yeah.
That's definitely the most impressed I've ever been with her. Again, I guess I've seen her in a lot of comedies. I haven't seen Jada Pinkett do a lot of dramatic acting. She's great in comedies, but she's so good. Oh my god. From the beginning, that scene with her and her brother when he doesn't know what she did to get the money to pay for college that he lied to her about getting into.
You didn't get in.
Come on, Stoney, don't go off on me now.
Don't you tell me not to go off on you. Do you have any idea what I had to go through? Do you?
I'm not staying around for this.
You were gonna hang around for this, and don't you move. Why did you have to lie to me?
Oh, God.
Yeah. Also very frustrating that she tore up the check after. Like, now it really means nothing.
Now it really means nothing. I know. That makes me mad, because it's not like that guy's ever going to be hurt by that or ever know that horrible man is ever going to know what she did or care. I don't know if he would even notice if she didn't cash the check. Maybe.
Right.
But...
I know. And that also went through my mind. Like, is he going to notice that check is outstanding in his bank balance? I wrote down as an idea for a lunchtime poll after that first, when they had the argument after the first bank robbery that TD didn't help at all, like... And then to argue over whether she still gets a cut. Would you, if you were one of them, would you give TD a cut of that money that she didn't rob a bank for?
I absolutely, yes, absolutely.
I would have too. We could also come up with a different lunchtime poll, but I just wrote that like, okay, would you? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really can't think of a good argument against.
Right. Well, I mean, Frankie tries to make the argument at first, like, well, she didn't even do anything. She didn't come with us.
But then she immediately realizes that she's being a dick and is like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Here you go.
So this is what's called a lunchtime poll.
Today's lunchtime poll question is, what low-key extravagance would you purchase with your bank robbery money? Christina, what do you got?
Well, I decided that I'd want to spend it on, like, a night of luxury, stay in a really nice hotel, have, like, a deep soaker tub, and, like, have room service, and do whatever spa packages there were. I don't know if that's super low-key, but it would be, like, one night, and then I'd be, like, out of there, so.
I think doing one night is low-key.
Yeah.
Anybody can save up or to splurge.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be fun.
As long as you didn't make a habit of it or move into a hotel.
Yeah, exactly.
You get away with it. What about you, Amy?
I had a hard time thinking of something that wasn't, like, boring and practical. Like, I'm like, a new floor in the kitchen, which probably is the truth, or paint my house because we're about to paint our house and it's $1 bazillion. But I don't know what we're talking about money-wise, but one thing that I could see spending money on as an extravagance would be really like having a karaoke set up in the house, like not just like a little machine, but like what it's like when you rent from someone and just have that in the house all the time. How fun would that be?
That would be amazing. And that's a really good answer.
Party house. Did I take your answer?
You didn't, but I think I want to take your answer. I have a boring answer, which is probably more true. Which is exactly, you joked about a new floor in the kitchen, but that is what I would do. Because my kitchen floor, I have a hate-hate relationship with it, basically. It's this super hard granite. It literally broke my foot.
Oh. Whoa.
And everything that falls on it, including things that are billed as unbreakable, shatter into 1,000,000 pieces. And if glass falls on it, it's like I'm finding shards for weeks afterwards, and I'm literally on my hands and knees crawling around with like a wet towel and vacuum cleaner and everything, and just work so hard, and then I still find glass for weeks afterwards. I fucking hate this floor. And then the other thing that sucks about it is that it's this weird like beige color with gray streaks, so even when it's just been scrubbed, it looks dirty. So I just hate it. But it would be so disruptive to get a new floor in addition to being expensive, and I don't even know what I would get maybe like that nice classic laminate that you find in rentals or something. But anyway, I would do that. That's a boring answer. But I think my fun answer would be that I want to rent a villa either somewhere in Europe
That would
for
be
like
awesome.
2 weeks and just take a bunch of friends. 5 or 6 families and rent
fun.
a giant villa or like a couple villas and just party up for a couple weeks.
Well, see, now
That
I
sounds
want that.
amazing.
I want to
Yeah, that's a great
Except,
one.
you know, for me, it would be the Jersey Shore. But yeah, to finally make my
That's a
summer
great
at the
idea.
Jersey Shore dream come true instead of just a week.
Yeah, actually, there's really any number of destinations where that party house thing, we've done that as a vacation just in Washington State, and it's great. So,
yeah
doing it somewhere far away, also good. I kind of thought Spain, but like there's a number of places that'd be good. So that's lunchtime poll. That was fun. It's fun to think about what you would do with money.
I've already started underlining meaningful passages in her copy of Moby Dick, if you know what I mean.
What line stood out for you guys?
I know Blair Underwood had a really cheesy line, like not a favorite line, but it was memorable. But
we did talk about a couple of his
he did
cheesy
have
lines
some pretty
earlier.
bad lines.
Yeah.
About the genie.
The genie. I'll be your genie.
Yeah.
That's really bad, but that's definitely not a favorite. Yeah, that's more the hot problems segment.
Right.
I know we already mentioned.
This is an ugly ass baby. You know, white people be having some old waterhead, crying ass ugly baby.
I liked when Queen Latifah is trying to get some guns for the robbery.
Y'all can roll with that right there.
Well, we ain't robbing stagecoaches.
Yeah, that was a good
Yeah.
one. I wrote that one down too. I really like that.
And then there was another one that it was the first or second robbery, and Jada Pinkett is holding all this cash.
Is it ours? Yes.
Like, it was just like sort of unexpected and kind of funny and endearing. Like, yeah, it's yours. You got it from the bank, you know? Like, you pulled that off. So I really liked that.
I liked when that other cop says to John C. McGinley, when he asks, "Can I tail her? I find her really suspicious when I tail her." And he says, "What part of no don't you understand? The N or the O?"
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, you usually just hear the first part.
Yeah.
It really
He's
drives
like,
the point
yeah,
home.
like, how stupid are you? I answered your question.
The Blair Underwood character, he just seemed like this contrast to Jada Pinkett's, like, I don't know, there's this line she said about, like, well, I just get to visit your life, you know, like, we're from different places. The other exchange they have about how she asks him, do you ever feel free? And he's like, yeah, I feel free. And, like, feels like she's caged. I just thought that contrast was interesting, and she hangs on to the dress that she had from the night that she goes out with him, and she takes that to Mexico with her, and it's just sort of like this symbol of like this other life that she wants to have that just seems so far away.
Yeah, that was the only thing she took with her to Mexico.
Yeah.
That and a touristy sombrero.
Yeah, he seems totally clueless about her life, where he's like, oh, have you ever been to New York, been to D.C.? He's like, no, I've not been anywhere, you know, like living like hand to mouth for my whole life. I didn't get a trip to New York, somewhere in the middle of that, you know.
Yeah, he definitely came from a completely different background, and it probably is very hard for him to imagine her upbringing, and he probably thinks that she could become comfortable. She wouldn't have ever been comfortable living that life with him. Because he just couldn't possibly understand. Even if she got away with it and they were able to somehow magically like run away together, there would just always be that sort of ocean of difference between them.
It's like from Fleischman is in Trouble, and she's like, if you're not born to it, you always speak it with an accent.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I'm going to reference that book every time we do
it. Drop wisdom from that book every once in a while.
My meaningfully marked up copy of Fleischman is in Trouble.
He asks her, what do you want to do in 5 years? And it's just kind of like, come on, just trying to survive and live. He's in such a different mindset.
That's an interview question. Such
a
ridiculous thing to ask.
Like,
he's such a dork.
I know.
What else does a suicide need, huh? Now, if you'll excuse me.
Just shut up. Hot Probs is on.
Oh, shit, yeah.
They had to get someone as attractive as Blair Underwood to play that character, because otherwise he would have been so unlikable.
Oh, he was,
It's like, que linda. I made fajitas.
Oh, God.
All right.
Oh, he said something else ridiculous. I'll be your genie.
Oh, God.
That was really
I don't think
cheesy.
anyone's as attractive enough to pull that off. I was literally trying to picture Oscar Isaac saying that.
Yeah, not even that.
Let's just not talk.
Exactly. Just pour oil on me near this
Right.
open flame.
Practically everything he says is clueless or problematic. I would say about half.
Yeah.
He's half charming and half just so.
And how much of that charm
unattached.
is just
Because he
that
looks
he's
like
so-
Blair
yeah,
Underwood.
exactly. It does not hurt. When he's hitting on her and he asks her to smile.
Right. Also, him having her get a different dress. Although
Yeah.
I did not dig her first look, but I mean that's kind of ballsy.
That bothered me
Basically
too.
tells
Even
them-
though,
Yeah, even though it was almost like a Pretty Woman scene where he takes her to.
I
this
thought of
shop
Pretty
and buys
Woman
her this
too,
lovely
yeah.
dress and also gets her hair done. So
Yes.
she has different hair.
How late were they for that
Right.
party?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was an odd scene. It came across like it was supposed to be this very romantic, gallant, grand gesture.
Yeah.
But really it was him saying, I don't like how you're dressed.
Yeah.
Let's go
I'd be
fix
embarrassed
it."
to be seen with you like that, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like her outfit was a little quirky, but it would have been fine. It
Mhm.
wasn't, well, this is black tie and you're in jeans or something
Yeah.
like that.
It was a colorful ensemble. She would have stood out, but it wouldn't have been in a bad way necessarily. I don't know. But to him, it was.
I mean, I thought she was so fine.
Yeah.
She could just wear anything.
Right? Oh, it's conditional?
Right.
Also, his apartment was so problematic.
Oh,
because
God!
it was a bad layout.
It was the oddest layout. I want to know the backstory of that. Like, was there just a weird house? Did they not think it through? Was there a reason to have the bed in the front room? If it were a studio, but it clearly was not?
When I was in high school, like, I always thought, like, the height of sophistication was, like, living in a loft in New York City or something. And, like, his place was, like, a lofty kind of, I don't know, it was, like, an all open floor plan. And
Yeah, I guess
I don't know.
It's the kind of weird thing you get in New York. You would get weird layouts like that because buildings have been chopped up to become rentals. And so you have weird things like a bathtub in the living room.
Right.
But in LA, it doesn't make any sense that
Right.
that you would find something like that. I mean, maybe.
And I think it was a house.
It seemed like a house. It seemed like a freestanding, tiny freestanding structure with, for some reason, the kitchen was in a bedroom and the
Right.
bed was in the living room.
Right.
It
Yeah,
was
how
so
the kitchen
weird.
was like a half level up.
Yeah,
Oh.
and tucked away in the back. Like,
Yeah.
There was a doorway there. There wasn't a door, but there could have been. It was so weird.
Yeah, I wonder if that was an actual house that existed or if it was a set that they built.
Yeah.
And I have some questions.
Yeah, and I forgot what a house looks like.
Right.
Oh, but he does say it's not much, but it's home.
Right.
And even though it is a weird layout, everything in it is obviously very nice. He's got his Harvard money.
Yeah.
I forget if it's after the first robbery or the second, but Jada Pinkett says she doesn't want to do any more of it. Like, the point was just to, like, get money the first time, be done with it. And then, like, Queen Latifah was like, no. They get into this fight where, like, you're with us, you have to do this. And, like, she holds a gun to Jada's head. And then, like, Jada Pinkett, like, is all distraught about, like, I had an argument with my friend over money. She's telling Blair Underwood, I don't think we're friends anymore. And Blair Underwood's like, if it's just, you know, a matter of money, like, friendships are worth more. And then, like, Jada Pinkett ends up being the one apologizing to Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, like, she held a gun to your head.
Right.
Like, that was fucked up.
I think they all knew she wasn't going to shoot her, though. But then she did accidentally shoot a gun earlier, so
like,
it's reasonable to think she might have accidentally shot her. But yeah, I mean, I felt like that was out of character, a weird out of character moment.
All right, Louise, you take Thelma over there and y'all go rob another bank if you all that.
Fuck you! I know you ain't finna back down on us now that we need you. I want some more motherfucking money.
Cleo, you are real high and you acting real stupid. You need to get that gun out my face.
Fucking raise a gun to me again.
What?
Also, she was always like, she was just high. I'm like, she was high on weed, though. Like, that doesn't make people, like, that's some reefer madness shit. Like, I don't know. Maybe there is, like, one person out of a million that gets, like, violent when they're high on weed, but I was like,
I thought part of that was another way that you saw what a different world he was from, where he's like, oh, don't let money get in the way of friendship. Money isn't important at all.
He says you can get more money. Or I wrote down the quote. Money, he says, money you can replace easy.
Right.
Which is like the most ridiculous thing you would ever say.
Where it's truly a life or death thing.
Yeah. It's cool. Like, they've been trying to get money easy and it hasn't worked. They've been trying to do it the extra hard way, which is working for it, and that hasn't worked either. The only way they can get money.
He really had no idea what was going on with this girl, with this fine woman who walked into the bank.
No. She's too pretty to be a bank robber, is probably what he would have said. You're too fine to be a bank robber. There was only one casual mention of, pointed mention by Frankie to the black lady detective, Detective Waller, where she's just standing there drinking water the whole time Frankie's getting interrogated. And then she walks out and she says,
You didn't even bother to ask me if I was thirsty, sister.
Basically, like, thanks for nothing.
Yeah.
I was a little frustrated by her character. She never really got to say or do anything other than just be there the whole time and be supportive to John C. McGinley's character.
Stevie Newsom, no priors. Good student. Headed for college, I hear both parents killed in a car accident 4 years ago.
God damn it. God.
But I like that that it was mentioned, at least called out, that she was not really being helpful and kind of being a little bit of a traitor to her gender and her race. But then it would have been nice to hear from her also.
Yeah.
Like, why did she make that choice?
Yeah, it definitely made it seem like that thin blue line, like, with cops is real, like, they're just on the cops' side, you know.
They're coming out with that movie soon with Letitia Wright in it, where she's like a
right.
black cop, and
we saw
they're like the
trailer for that, right?
Yeah. And it seemed like it was going to be a Blue Lives Matter movie, but then it was actually the opposite of that.
Just kidding.
What the hell did you do?
Shut a body cam on! But we got a ghost! She's gone! Find her!
You can't be in here with this. The police, they'll help you.
It was the cops that shot me.
That was when the lady behind us was like, are all the movies about black people?
Yeah, all of the movies.
All the movies.
Every 20 years, we get one or two.
Right. Did you notice all the movies were about white people for like a really long time?
Yeah. A hot problem with this is how it wasn't nominated for any Oscars that year at all. Like, nobody was recognized in any way for this movie.
Oh, right. And we looked up what the nominees and winners were that year.
And I revisited
something terrible.
this today, and I got mad all over again. It's such a hashtag Oscar so white year. It's ridiculous. That was the year that Titanic won a bunch of awards, and Kate Winslet won Best Actress, and the fucking Best Supporting Actress. The winner was Kim Basinger for LA Confidential, but instead of like Queen Latifah or any woman from this movie who could have been nominated because they were giving these amazing performances, they've nominated that lady from Titanic, old lady, Gloria Stewart. What?
They know.
Yeah. For throwing a fucking diamond in the ocean.
For being old.
It reminds me of when they nominated Jack Palance for being in City Slickers, and it's just like...
he won.
He won?
He did, and then he did push-ups.
He did the push-ups.
Yeah.
He won?
Yes.
And then he was,
oh my God.
No, then he was the one the next year that presented, and when Marissa Tomei won, and there was always sort of the urban legend that he just read the card wrong, because how could she have won? And she was finally vindicated when the whole thing with La La Land happened, because it was like, now you see, if somebody reads the wrong winner, they clear it up. They don't just give that person the Oscar.
That's true. That does clear that up.
Right.
They have a fail safe for that.
Right.
Oh, and then that was the Good Will Hunting year. That was all over the place. And then
so that means Robin Williams won that.
Yeah.
I do not care
Ben
for his
Affleck
acting.
and Matt Damon won for Best Screenplay. Yeah, there were
That's
just
a bad
there were almost
year.
no people. This also made me so mad. Okay, I love Robert Forster. He's great. He was this was a Jackie Brown year. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Jackie Brown. But guess who wasn't nominated for anything?
Pam Grier.
The fucking star of Jackie
Right.
Brown.
Right.
Pam Grier was
That is
not
an
nominated.
Oscar so
She's
white
so
year.
amazing in that. Well, so Amistad came out that year, but the only person nominated from Amistad was Anthony Hopkins. Anyway, that's a hot problem.
Wow.
Still a problem, but this was such a Oscar so white year, it's ridiculous. This once again makes me wish you could take away Oscars and give them to more deserving people
Honestly,
retroactively.
the Oscars should be 5 years later because things do things don't
It's
age
true.
well. I mean, yeah. 5 years later, Roberto Benigni is not getting an Oscar.
Yeah,
it's-
no
people are
kidding.
initially charmed by
yeah.
him, and then you look back, oh God,
And Forrest Gump.
Right.
Yeah, that was.
Or also American Beauty. That was something.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
there was just something.
I mean-
There were just some articles about that, how that year had some really great movies. That's a year that's looked back on as a pivotal year for
Mhm.
movies, but people never mention American Beauty because it really does not hold up under scrutiny or age or anything.
Yeah.
And that was Best Picture. I'm embarrassed to even say that.
I know, that is pretty bad. Oof. Maybe it'll get better someday.
It's like you think it is getting better, and then Green Book wins.
I know. It's like we had Obama and
Right.
look at us now. We always get a backslide.
Next call.
Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
I had one thing that I was just curious about. Not that we're going to be able to resolve it, but when Queen Latifah is in a lineup because there is that one witness that she threatened.
Right, yeah.
And the cops are really leading her, really pushing her, going like, oh, you sure that's not her?
Mhm.
And I remember it reminded me a lot of there's a scene in The Player that's similar where whoever the cop is really leading the witness
Mhm.
during the lineup, trying to get them to point out the actual suspect,
Yeah.
right? I just wondered if there's truth to that. If cops...
If they really do that.
Cops do kind of lead people in lineups like that, like nudge them towards the person who it actually is, or if they do just stand back and say, do you see that person that you saw?
I bet it happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily par for the course.
Right.
Maybe. I don't
Right.
know. I've never been in that situation, but
Right.
I'm sure that it's something that does happen. I mean, certainly police corruption is
Right.
rampant.
Yeah, I mean, usually I just think
Yeah.
so highly of police procedure.
Yeah. And I think especially at that time, because this film was made after Rodney King, and the LAPD were particularly notorious for being corrupt and racist. So I can imagine them just really wanting to get an arrest. And anyway, she was the one that threatened this woman, but she wasn't the one who killed Luther.
Right.
Yeah.
She was kind of telling the truth. She's like, that wasn't her. I mean,
Right.
she was there, but it wasn't her.
Right.
But she mainly did it, obviously, because her life was threatened. But
Yeah, she definitely just didn't want anything to do with that.
yeah.
Also, it didn't seem like she had any real strong ties with Luther in the
Yeah.
first place. she
She said, I just met him.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
She's like,
yeah,
I
you
just
guys
want-
sort this out yourselves.
That was a bad call, and this I just want this to be
Right.
over. On the next episode of Paid in Puke, Abortion Palooza 2019! We compare and contrast the 1996 Alexander Payne directorial debut Citizen Ruth, which satirizes the public debate about abortion, with the low-key 2009 dramedy Obvious Child, the directorial debut of Gillian Robespierre that offers a realistic depiction of how abortion factors into a woman's life. Paid in Puke is hosted by Amy Green, Christina Barr, and Jessica Baxter. Music by Silent Partner. Follow us on Twitter at PaidInPukePod, or join us on Facebook at Paid in Puke Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Lick it up, baby. Lick it